A live look outside from our valley cameras. That rain moved in a few hours ago, and it's expected to continue and last through the evening commute. Our Ford Hatchett is in live drive for us tonight. And Ford, what are you seeing where you are?
Yeah, well, you caught us at a good time here, Javier. I'll flip it around for you. We're on the I-10 headed east, and we are just heading under the overpass here at about 5th Avenue and 7th Avenue, where things are going to cross here. And things have slowed down both eastbound and westbound. We saw earlier that dust that kicked up, and we saw it in live drive. That was around 3 o'clock, and ever since then, it's been pretty consistent rain. We are now headed, you heard both Amber and Justin Hobbs mentioned that we have a thunderstorm warning in the East Valley. We're headed on I-10 East right now, and we're, as you see, about to go under the overpass, and we'll stay dry for just a minute here. This has been rare today that our wipers haven't been working overtime, but we're riding along here, and we're going to get up and head north on the 51 to see where that storm is moving. We talked to ADOT in their operations center earlier today. They said they were prepared for this. They've known this is coming. They had more than 400 crews out in the high country, and they have several more out here. They work in tandem with DPS, and we've seen DPS out here helping some cars that have already spun off the side of the road. There have been signs up that have warned drivers that it is slick roads and that they need to slow down. And we mentioned that I-40 closure that happened over the weekend, and you heard Javier mention I-40 is closed again today, and Jordan Bonke is in the high country for us today. Jordan, that closure just coming in the last hour or so. How are conditions in the high country so far today?
Ford, we just made a small little travel just from that central part of Flagstaff so that we can come over here. This is through the NAU campus so that we can go to 89A, 17, and I-40. We're in a parking lot of where Red Lobster and Olive Garden meet. This is an area right as you're coming into town from the valley. Notice that there aren't too many people, but if they are moving on I-40, they're not moving very fast. Earlier today, there were plenty of snow that just really didn't stick. So as it gets colder, that can start to freeze itself. You know, when we talk about those emergency kits, if you absolutely have to travel, and I asked every day, all day long, ADOT, DPS, what is your advice to people who are going to be out today because of this winter storm? They said avoid travel if you can, but if you have to, bring an emergency kit. You mentioned this earlier. That includes food, water, a charger, let people know where you're going, and also some traction. That could be sand or even kitty litter, just in case you get stuck. As we were traveling from the central part of Flagstaff to get to this area so that we can keep an eye on the interstate, which has some closures that we'll get to in a second. We already saw a jackknife bus on that way. People slipping and sliding. What a difference an hour makes. It is a complete whiteout. It is very, very difficult to drive. We're driving at probably 5 to 10 miles an hour just to move the 2 miles that we did. Those closures are on I-40 eastbound near Kingman in Ash Fork and I-40 westbound in Winslow. We talked with a very experienced truck driver earlier who had some colleagues that were stuck in all of that. Here's what they had to say about driving in this type of weather.
If you're not an experienced operator, whether it be a car or be a truck, you don't need to be on a highway.
Yeah.
And the only reason you need to be out here is because you're under a load or you have something you have to do. Beyond that, if it's not an emergency, get off the highway, wait it out, and then continue on.
And that's with somebody who's been driving a semi for more than half a century, 55 years, he told me. You know, it's hard to imagine it right now, but this is actually really good to have mid-March because this reduces our risk for wildfire, which is that season's coming around the corner. And already they're anticipating the National Weather Service. They usually get about 75 inches. So far this year, 33 inches. That is growing by the minute here.